Soon-to-be sister-in-law demands I throw her a lavish bridal shower unless I donate money to fund wedding season brings out the absolute worst in people. So here we go. My brother Jay is marrying his fiancée Debbie soon. Debbie asked my sister Christina and me to be bridesmaids, but we both turned it down. This becomes relevant later. A few weeks ago Debbie contacted Christina and me and demanded that we throw her a bridal shower. However, this was more directed at me as Christina is currently in university. Her reasoning was that it was the least we could do after we said no to being bridesmaids, didn't have any cost and hadn't contributed to the wedding. Yet I told Christina I would handle it since she's very conflict averse. I sent Debbie a polite text, saying we would not be planning hosting or attending any such shower. Debbie got very angry and implied that she would try to uninvite us from the wedding. I'm not wrong to think this is something the maid of honor usually does for the bride, so I'm curious why this evening came close to landing on our plate in the first place. Jay asked Christine and me to reconsider and even said he would pay for it if we just pretend we did, but I said absolutely not, and Christina couldn't really plan it all on her own. Jay's now getting pressure from Debbie to react to this in some way. I guess she wants us uninvited or to have some consequences for us not helping out. This has caused a fair bit of drama. Jay's mother, not my mother, has used this as an excuse to Dell, lying to him about Debbie whom she dislikes. Jay's dad and best man are giving him for letting her treat us this way, and Jay's digging in his heels because he feels like we're all ganging up on him. He's accused me of ruining the wedding planning experience and thinks that he won't end up with a lot of family there. If this happens, I don't think I'm in the wrong for not wanting to do the shower. Am I? We said no to being bridesmaids because we're busy. Christina is a full-time student in a different city. I have a startup to run and the construction of a house to oversee. Neither of us had the time for dress fittings for her bachelorette trip, all the ancillary branches and lunches, etc. Christina has a significant age gap with Debbie, and she's a shy person. She wouldn't have wanted to do it without me since she doesn't know anyone else for my side. I don't have the bandwidth, and even if I did, being a bridesmaid isn't fun unless you're close to the bride. But the overwhelming reason we said no is that we just couldn't dedicate time to it and thought it was best to leave the position for people who wanted it and would have felt honored. Debbie picked 2 other bridesmaids, not the idiot. It seems totally weird that having refused to be bridesmaids, she would ask you that. Especially since that's the maid of honor or another close friend's job. Normally she's looking to cause drama by doing this knowing you'd refuse and looking for an excuse to uninvite you from the wedding. Strange power play for her. LOL. Are you guys significantly better off than her circle or something? Your sister's in college, so why would she think you two could afford it? Debbie's likely too far gone to hear logic from you and possibly anyone anymore. Still, your brother really needs to step in here. He must explain to her again that you guys said no for good reasons. Of course, all Debbie's going to be is they're supposed to be a becoming family, and they don't care about me enough to make time for me. I wish you luck in dealing with her as a sister-in-law. At least that's if your brother doesn't take a look at the drama and rethink things anyway. I'm shocked a woman whose behavior has caused such strong feelings amongst her fiancé's family doesn't have close friends of her own, tripping over themselves to throw her a shower. Debbie's a manipulative idiot. You don't demand for a bridal shower. Told her to go ahead and uninvite you and your sister. There's absolutely no economic value or benefit to attending her wedding. Jay will have a miserable life unless he wakes up and stops this wedding. I married my beautiful wife, Hannah, almost a year ago now. I love her more than anything, but she was a bit of a bridezilla and everything at the wedding had to be perfect. I work in an industry where kissing and nepotism run rampant, so we invited people I work with. The wedding, Chris, the firm's owner, showed up with his wife, who was wearing white with flowers, and Hannah was fuming. She felt she did it on purpose, as she had apparently been catty in the past, and demanded I kick her out. I told her I could not kick my boss's wife out, but then I could see it was ruining her day, and her maid of honor was red wine, which would have been worse. I told them as gently as I could tell what his wife was like, but it has flowers. But they did leave. My mom told me I was a darn idiot and better not expect a loan from her when this blew up. Well, long story short, I didn't get the promotion I had a good chance of getting. Chris now treats me like a joke and wants nothing to do with me, and the rest of the firm is laughing behind my back. I'm looking for another job, but it is what it is for right now. Hannah desperately wants a bigger house so we can start our family. Also, I saw her eyeing some jewelry myself. Sister's boyfriend bought her, and it just makes me feel like, well, my mom turned 50 the other day, and my stepdad showed up with a Porsche in the car. Hannah joked as she gets her one for her upcoming birthday, and I kind of lost my temper. I yelled that if she didn't make me kick my boss's wife is out, maybe I could ask. Hannah burst into tears, and when we got home she locked you into a room. Am I the idiot? And you married Hannah for her intelligence and personality? Right, you are the idiot. You're just as dumb as her. For Mary and Porchzilla next time, have some guts, and you won't miss out on a promotion. She's going to ruin your life and then leave you. Dude, grow a spine, give me a break. The boss's wife was being a witch. Everyone knows you don't wear white to a wedding. Flowers or not, he was in a lose-lose scenario. He made the choice that he could get out of the repercussions. It was easier to find a new job than a new wife. Op should also realize her showing up in white was a signal he wasn't going to get the promotion. Either he's rude and kicks them out, or he's a spineless kisser who's no good for further development. As for the parish, not the idiot, she knows what you can afford. At least she should, and should realize you're stressed about finding a new job. While saving for the house, it's not a good time to joke about dropping $75,000 more for something that'll lose 40% of its value the moment you get possession of it. I, 36, female, have been married to my wonderful wife Anna, 35, female. For the past 10 years we have a kindergarten-age son Liam. Anna and I both work during the day, so Liam spends the time until one of we can pick him up at his kindergarten. The other day Liam's teacher called me and said they would appreciate it if we were both available when we picked him up because he had gotten in an argument and they wanted to talk to us. Initially I was worried, so I moved a few of my meetings and called my wife. We both went to pick him up. The whole issue was he had gotten into an argument with a girl over the rules of a game they were playing. The teacher said he got angry. He started speaking in a different language and no one could understand what he was talking about. The other kid's parents said speaking in a way no one understood was offensive and that we should have taught him better. Now I'm a Greek woman. And my wife is French. We live in an English-speaking country while Liam can undoubtedly speaks English. He occasionally uses Greek and French. Anna and I learned each other's languages, so our household is a mix of all three languages at different times. He picked up on both of them and can speak them more or less. I said we had clearly taught him well since he's been able to speak in other languages fluently this whole time but only slipped when he was frustrated during an argument. I said I was in no way offensive, that it was a human reaction and that Liam would surely get under his control over time, but he's young, so maybe we should all take a deep breath. The other kids' parents were extremely mad, saying their daughter was so upset she cried after the argument and that Liam had to apologize for making her feel this frustration by using another language. My wife answered them with the same overall point as I did, but they didn't back down. Even the teacher said we had to work on helping Liam not making this a recurring theme, which is fair. After the meeting was over and we were going to drive away, the other kid's dad commented, "You're all arrogant rich people driving cars like this and thinking whatever you're doing is right in front of the kids," and I got really mad, and I said, "I hope you're a better parent than what I'm guessing you." After we went home, Anna and I told Liam not to speak to other people in a language they didn't understand. Later we talked among ourselves and wondered if we had escalated the whole argument even more. I'm asking on behalf of both of us, were we the idiots? Not the idiot. The kid shouldn't be restricted to English only. I'm white, English-speaking person, and I grew up with a lot of immigrants. It was super common for people to switch to many different languages, and it was also common for me to get yelled at in Vietnamese or another language when someone was upset with me. LOL. It's just a super common thing for people to speak in their own native tongue when upset. The idiot teacher and the tiny bread of a little kid who cried can both just it up and shut up by acting like this. The girl and her parents feel justified that somehow they were wronged when a different language was spoken. So, our little Susie only speaks one language. Liam made her feel bad for speaking three. God forbid your kid exposes their kid to another culture. The horror, the offense. It could have been a great teaching or growing moment for that little girl and your son if the teachers and her parents hadn't been so dramatic. After the children calmed down, they could have said, "Hey, if you didn't understand what he said, why don't you ask him to teach you a few Greek or French words?" I agree that everyone needs to take a breath. There's nothing offensive here, even if the teacher sounds a bit ridiculous chastising you over what is clearly an accident by a flipping little boy. An apology doesn't even seem warranted. Apologize for what? It would be the same as if I used a big word to express myself that you didn't understand. You say you don't understand. I use simpler words and life goes on. People making a big deal out of it seems unnecessary. I'm a mom to two sons, a preschooler and a pre-twain. They attend the same elementary, so pick up and drop off is easy for me. I'm married, so I'm mostly a stay-at-home mom. Aside from a part-time job, I've taught kids piano. Recently my older son has become quite good friends with another kid in his class. He wanted to have a play date with him, so I got in touch with his mom to organize it. I managed to meet the kid's mom and she seemed pretty responsible for my impression. The week after the play date, I picked up my two sons from school and my eldest had brought his friend, asked him where his mom was, and he told me she just told him to go with Daniel. My son's name. Obviously this was wildly irresponsible on her part, so I called her, but it went straight to voicemail. Obviously I wasn't going to leave this kid alone at the end of school, so after repeated attempts to contact her, I just took him with me home later. Contacted me around 2 hours after school finished asking me where her kid was and then came to collect him from my house. I asked her why the heck she had done that and she said she was a single mom and couldn't pick him up in time, due to her Pilates class. I was angry as she had just used me for free childcare and assumed I had no responsibilities of my own. I told her not to do this again or that I would report it a few days later. You guessed it, my eldest son came to the car with his friend. I asked him where his mom was again, and he told me she had instructed him to go with my son again. At this point I got out of the car with all the kids, went to the reception to tell them about the incident and left them there. I got a call after school from his mom with her swearing and berating me, calling me every name in the book, saying that I had gotten her in trouble with the school. We got into an argument, and I hung up after this. She made a Facebook post about me, calling me out and calling me a selfish idiot. I don't know what to do and want to know if I was the idiot. Not the idiot. Reply on her post that she's lucky you didn't call CPS on her and tell her friends that a Pilates class was more important than the safety of her child. She should ask first. I'm sure if she had, you'd have happily helped her out. But you don't. Off your kid for Pilates class. Wouldn't recommend engaging with the woman on Facebook. Ignore her, take the higher road and be the bigger person. It's unfortunate that the child got stuck in the middle of this. I feel bad For him most of all, if this person had put a fraction of the time or energy she did into posting her Facebook rant or arranging to schedule and timely attend her conflicting PATS class, surely she at the time. And it was her responsibility as a parent of an elementary school-age child to communicate regarding an arrangement after school transportation and supervision for her child up. You didn't get her in trouble. She's lucky the school didn't call CPS. My sister and her kids have been going to therapy for the past 4 months. My sister lost her husband 3 years ago and started dating again 2 years ago. Now she's engaged to a guy, Kev, and he's living with her and the kids. The kids are a tween and a pre-tween, and the youngest is a year younger. My sister had this idea that the kids would be crazy about Kev and so excited to have another man around that they think of him as another dad figure, second dad, bonus dad, or however people prefer to title it. From what I know, Kev is a pretty decent guy, but I also know the older two kids remember their dad really well. He was actually the stay-at-home parent in the relationship, and the youngest, despite being for when his dad died, also has some memories of him, so it's not easy for them to accept Kev being there. The kids pull back for my sister after she told them she was dating someone, and they were very closed off with Kev when they met. Despite this, they moved in together and got engaged. My sister decided they needed therapy together. Because the kids would try to stay out of the way after Kev moved in, they weren't enthusiastic about spending time with her or with Kev. If they weren't at a friend's house or playing outside, they would hold up in their rooms. My sister tried coaxing them out, but she knew they just weren't interested, so she started going to therapy with them to figure stuff out. In therapy, the kids opened up, and my sister had to leave the room for this to happen, and it became clear that they were having a very hard time with their mom being with Kev. All 3 kids said that they'd rather be left behind than brought forward the way their mom is moving forward. They're also very fearful that Kev will be as involved as their dad was. And they don't want that. They don't want him to be the parent or taking care of them. After maybe 3 months of therapy, my sister was told by the therapist that her recommendation would be for her and Kev to live separately and not get married for a few more years, and for her to focus on her role as the kids' mom. She told her it would be better for the kids. She also told her it would be the easiest way for them and Kev to have a friendly and maybe even close relationship in the future. My sister really didn't like hearing this. She vented to me twice and asked me what she should do and told me she really wanted to hear my thoughts. So I told her I thought she should listen to the therapist because I agreed with what she said. She asked me why, and I brought up some family friends we've had since childhood where the dad remarried after his wife died, and the kids from the first marriage felt it was too fast and are very distant from the family today. I told her I'd hate to see that happen with her and the kids. She was upset hearing this from me. Then she got mad and told me I should encourage her to follow her heart. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. Always be honest and direct. Your sister wanted affirmation from the therapist that the kids needed to accept the situation. When she didn't get this, she thought the therapist's advice wasn't worth listening to. I had a stepdad, so I understand the kids' position. They have no interest in being parented by, from their perspective, some random dude who isn't their dad. He might be a decent guy, but her kids should come first. No one said they had to break up. Right, just not live together yet. I resented my mom for bringing my stepdad into my life. Is that what she's looking for? My partner is a widower with 3 young kids, 19, 21 and 23. It was 2 years before I stayed overnight at his place. He stayed at mine instead of your sister's, lonely and seeking comfort from Kev's companionship. But foremost, she's a mother and the best interest of her children should come first. If Kev was decent, he would recognize that and back off a chat. Would Kev maybe do? Most people here are too young to understand that parents resenting their kids is just as big a problem. I don't agree that a mother who's lost her husband has to stay alone because that's the way the kids want it. Reality bites. But kids have to learn to deal with it or life will always be painful for them. Putting your kids first sometimes means creating the best family you can and expecting them to respect and love you enough to help you do that. I don't think this therapist is helping when the kids are teens. They'll sing the same stay alone song to mom.